Hey everyone, it's John, and today we're going to be doing some more network automation, and in this video we're again going to be looking at Nornir, but this time we're going to be focusing on TextFSM and the use of structured data. Now, understanding and being able to leverage structured data is going to give you so much control of your network automation that I think it really should be a central focus of your studies, hence why I'm making this video. Now, before I start this video, I've kind of got a little bit of an important point I want to make to you. So, when I first started this channel, I had quite a simple principle that was try your best to make accurate content honestly. Really simple, but that's what I'm trying to abide by. Try my best to anyway. Now, recently, as my channel's been getting a little bit more traction, some more subscribers, and with that I'm getting more private messages. Recently, my private messages have been getting a lot about network automation and people asking me for my recommendation about what they should do about their network. Now, if you've seen my earlier videos, you've known that I've put a million disclaimers about this stuff, but in recent events of my channel getting a bit more growth, maybe you've not seen this. Now, I've got to be honest, I am not an expert on any of this, okay? I'm not an authority, I'm not the person you should be contacting. If you want my personal opinion on what I like, I'm happy to share with you, happy to talk to you all day about that. But what you should do, you should not be taking my advice, you really should be, if my videos are helping you effectively, that's great. Take what you learn, but always double check them, because quite frankly, I'm not well versed enough in all this to know if I'm following best practices. If you get advice from someone like Hank Preston or Dimitri Figo, these guys are much better qualified and much more skilled than me to tell you what to do. If you get something from them, you can pretty much take it to the bank that it's good advice. If you're learning stuff from me, that's great, but just pretty much question it and don't take me as your single source of truth. That's what I'm kind of trying to drive at here, okay? So, by all means, continue the messages. I'll do my best to respond to you and give you my opinion, but please just understand it's only my opinion and I'm still very much learning this stuff. With networking generally, I feel quite strong on. Network automation, it's still very much still finding my footing, okay? So just be aware of that. And with that said, let's kick on to the actual content of the video. So, first things first. So if you're following along at home, the first thing that you should do is pull up a terminal, okay? So do that. And what we're going to do is git clone this link here. Now, these are the templates we're going to use with TextFSM. They were developed by the Network to Code community. These people have done great work. They've made it so much easier for you and I to be able to parse out information. And what it's going to do is, it's going to transform our, say for example, our show IP OSPF neighbor or show IP root or show IP interface brief and bring it back in a structured format, and you'll see what that looks like later on. But first things first is git clone this. The first thing I'll say about this though is that NetMiko is automatically programmed to look for these templates in a particular location. So when you're cloning it, make sure you're in your home directory, okay? Now you can change this, but it does require additional configuration, which I'm not going to cover. So if you want to do it the way I'm doing it, make sure you're in the right directory. So if, say for example, you're in, say, Nornir and runbooks, okay? You're in a random directory, just push CD. CD gets you back to your home directory, okay? Oh. So we're in the home directory and now git clone it from here. Now when I hit this, it's going to be fatal because it's already installed. When you do it, if you've not installed it, it should install it fine, okay? So it's pretty much saying it already exists, and if you look here, you can actually see this is the path here, okay? I've got all my templates in here. This will allow us to use TextFSM in the way I'm going to show you in this video, okay? So, just clear this, and let's go and have a look at the actual scripts. So the first script, which we're going to actually see here, is going to be called no structure. And if we just vim that, all we're doing here is using Nornir to use NetMiko to send out this show command, show interface switch port. Now, Cisco show commands are what you would call semi-structured data, okay? It's structured to an extent, but not a kind of, it's not great for programmatic parsing, okay? So I'll show you what I mean when I do that. So let's just deploy this script first, okay? And we'll do Python, if we can type it, no structure. Okay, so Nornir's pulled out that information. So let's just have a look at this one here. Okay, so this will be switch 8, gigabit 1.3, I believe. Yep. So gig 1.3. So we've got this data here for this interface, okay? Now it's kind of structured, but it's also kind of not. So let's just say we try to parse out information about, is this interface an access port or a trunk port? So let's just try to say we try to filter for the word trunk. Okay, if we see the word trunk, we can usually tell it's a trunk port. Okay, but look at this though. The actual port actually is an access port, but in this big blob of data, we can actually find the word trunk quite a lot. So this could be quite deceptive. If we try to look in the interface and say, if this interface has trunk in it, then make it a trunk port. Well, that's not true in this case. It's actually an access port, but it has got trunk here. It's got the word trunk here with a capital letter. To get this information correctly, you would have to do some pretty complex regular expressions so that we can get the real information. Is this really a trunk, or is the trunk information which is given out in the interface actually irrelevant to what we're looking at? Okay, so this is a problem here with semi-structured data, and this continues on all the way up through all the interfaces. Okay, so some here, for example, this one actually is a trunk. Okay, but if we just looked at this text blob from this interface, we've got trunk here and trunk here. The way we could tell if it is a trunk or not is the value opposite this administrative mode. If it says trunk across from that, it's a trunk. If across from administrative mode it doesn't say trunk, then it's not a trunk. That is effectively what TextFSM is going to do. It's going to convert our output to have these dictionary keys, okay, these values whereby we've got a key pair, we've got a key which we can filter on and a value which we can search for. This is going to make it so much easier to actually parse out the information which we're looking for. Now, if this is sounding confusing, let me just gradually show you and maybe it will start to make more sense. So, if we go to the second script, it's really similar. It's just called structured, okay? So if we do vim structured, we're now using this TextFSM equals true. That's instructing Nornir to use NetMiko and use the TextFSM NTC network to code templates to pull back the information, put it through the template, and give it to us in this structured format. So let's look at that now. Okay, so let's deploy the script which is going to return structured data via the use of FSM. So we'll do a Python 3 and do structured. Nornir is going to return this show output in a kind of dictionary format, which is going to be much easier for us to parse. So let's just look at the bottom one here, which is going to be switch 8. See that here? Now if you look at the left hand side here, we've got these little curly braces up here, okay? Each one of these denotes a kind of new kind of object, okay? So this one here is interface gigabit 00, you see that? And the one below it from this new one is interface gigabit 01, and this continues on, okay, for each interface. So let's just look at, for example, we'll look at number gigabit 01, okay. Now we can actually get accurate information now, because on the left hand side we've got these dictionary keys and adjacent to them we've got the values. So if we want to find out if something is a trunk, all we'll do is tell the script to look for the admin mode dictionary key, and then if the value contains the word trunk, we know that that link actually is a trunk, okay? Conversely, if we tell Nornir or the Python script to look at the admin mode key, and the key happens to have the word access in it, it's going to be an access port. If it's got the word dynamic auto, it's going to be a dynamic auto one, so it makes it so much easier rather than just trying to parse out this large text blob looking for the word trunk when it can appear multiple times in different contexts. Okay, so this is really the purpose of getting this structured data. We can reference particular keys, and we know that the key name is going to be consistent even though the value might be dynamic and different. This is where we're going to have the control and the ability to parse out this information. So what I'm going to do is actually look at the script that we're going to be deploying, and I'm going to do a little bit of interactive Python so we can really control the objects and see what we're trying to parse out, okay? So I was thinking the best way to help you understand this would be to give you a quick glimpse of the script, not go into too much depth, but then go into some interactive Python so you can see how I'm manipulating the actual objects, and then go back and explain the script. I think that's probably going to be the easiest way to understand it. So that's what we'll do. So let's first look at the script just to get a rough idea, And as you can see at the top, we're importing our usual Nornir stuff. We've created a function called getFacts with the argument task. We've got a variable called R, and we're instructing it to use netmiko to send the show interface switchport command. We're using TextFSM, set it true to get that structured data. Here's the important part, okay? That variable R, we're going to use r.result method to actually save the output of this structured show result, and we're going to save it to the key called facts. It's going to be our task.host, save it to facts, okay? Now, let's just go back and look at this. So, what I've got here, I've got this script called trace. And what it's going to do is just run this script, like I say, save the output to the key called facts, and then it's going to actually import IPDB into our trace so we can get into the script, or rather into what we've saved, and start just working with it. So let's just do that now and see how it looks, okay? Now first, before I deploy this script, I just want to just show you the host file again, just to refamiliarise yourself with it. So we do vim hosts. We can see that for each device, for example S1, we've got a key here called hostname and a value which corresponds, in this case 192.168.31.11. Below that we've got a key platform with a value iOS, and then down here we've got a arbitrary data which is our data key, and within that we've got some more keys, vendor, which is going to return the vendor, the autonomous system number, return the AS number, so on and so forth. So just pay attention to that, okay? So now if I run the script and just do trace, Nornir is going to grab the information and then drop us straight into the Python debugger. So if I do nr inventory hosts, just check something first. Yeah, so that's there. So let me just explain this. So inventory hosts. So if I do this, this is going to show me all of my, effectively my host file here essentially. S1, S2, S3, and if we put a value in, you see each one's got a key, S1, S2. So if I want to put the key in, I'll just put a square bracket, and now we get S1. If we change that to S2, it's going to return the value. So let's go back to S1. Now remember, in our host file we had a host name, so let's just do .hostname. It's going to return the value for that. If we do platform, it's going to return the value for that. If we did groups, and if we did data, we're going to see that now, rather than just having vendor and AS and domain, if we remember the script, we've also got this facts key, and the facts is saved everything from the show run, or not the show run, the show interface switchport command for each interface, okay? So let's just examine this a bit closer. So we can just go into the key facts, which you can see here, okay? So to access the key we use square brackets, and we do facts, okay? So it's going to have, now this might look a little bit messy, I understand, but just try to follow it. Now for each interface we're going to have a separate object really. So if we did, say for example, put 0 here, okay, it's just going to show me the first interface. See that here? It's going to show gigabit 00. If I change this to 1, it's going to show me gigabit 01s. If I did it to 2. So what I'm doing here, okay, see these values here? In the script it's going to be an X, because I'm going to look through all these values because I want to check every one. I don't want to just look at the 0 value or the 1 or the 2. I want to look through 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to grab all of them. Now, if we just looked at one of the keys, okay, let's just go back to the very first one, gigabit 00. Each one has a key within that. So we've got an interface key which returns an actual value. We've got a switch port key which returns a value. The key which I'm going to look for is the one admin mode. That's going to tell me which mode the actual interface is in. So if I did, say for example here, and put another key in, and did admin underscore mode, it's going to tell me it's a trunk. This is the type of information I'm going to filter on. Now, but when I'm doing it in the script, this part's going to look a little bit different, okay? We're going to replace this with task.host. We can do that within the script, okay? I'm not going to get bogged down in the details why, just remember we can change this to task.host, okay? And as Nornir iterates through every single device, that's automatically going to change from S1, S2, S3. So just have task.host and then have these keys here, okay? Now, this is the part we're going to change, okay? We're going to change this to an X because we're going to have it to be a loop. So we can change it from 0, 1, 2, 3 to get all the values. But that is effectively all we're doing. We're just parsing out that information because we've got this new key facts which stores all this information, and they've all got dictionary keys which we can parse on, okay? Now, again, this might not make much sense. Just keep following with it and we'll try to show an example here. So if we just go back here, I'll exit out here. Exit debugger. Right, so let's look at the actual script now. Okay, now so let's look at the script then. So I've got two versions of the script. The first one which you saw, and the second one I've actually added in some comments. I'll look at that one, that might be easier to actually read. So again, our usual Nornir stuff here. We've got a getFacts function with the task argument. We're running netmiko send command. We're saving that result to the key facts, we just discussed that. And remember, when we're trying to get the actual keys for the values for each interface, we had to go and specify the key. So for example, down here we had 0 would show us interface gigabit 00, 1 would show you 01, 2 would show you 02. Well, we want to loop through all these values, so I'm creating the variable X here, and I'm going to push in X for each different interface, okay? So what I've done here, I've defined the commands to be sent when we detect a trunk interface, and that's just called the variable trunk commands. And we're going to do interface and go into what interface we actually detect. So interface gigabit 00, interface gigabit 01, whatever it is. And if it detects it, it's going to have description, this is a trunk link. Then we've got the variable access commands defined, and again, same process, interface, task, host, facts, X, and the interface name. And like, I'll just show you this here. We did this here. Use the interface key here. It's going to tell you the actual interface. So effectively doing interface, gigabit, whatever this value is. And like I said, remember, we're replacing this part of it with just task.run. Or task.host, sorry. Okay, so that's what we're doing here to get into that interface. The next part we're saying is description access port connected to VLAN plus, and then we're going to actually parse out the VLAN ID, and we're going to use the access VLAN key. So if we did the same thing here and change this to, if you see, access VLAN 1 for that one. And if we did say, let's go into S3 and change that to 0, we see that's in VLAN 10. If we change that to S6, it'll be VLAN 20. So these values are going to change, and we're just doing it by access and dictionary keys, okay? So that's all we're doing here. So if we detect that's a trunk, we're going to push out the trunk commands. If we detect it's an access, we're going to push out interface description, access port connected to the VLAN, and then define the access VLAN. We've then got a third one, which is the shut commands variable. It's going to be interface, and then go into the interface yet again and just put the simple description, this link is shut down. Now we've got our three conditions. The first one is if you see the word trunk in task.host facts x admin mode. So admin mode. If you see the word trunk, it's a trunk link. In this case, we don't see the word trunk, we actually see the word access, so this one's going to be an access. So we're just iterating through all these things, just referencing dictionary keys. So if the word trunk is in it, we're going to send the trunk commands, which are these commands up here. If we see the word access in the admin mode key, we're going to send the access commands, which are these commands here. If we see the word down in the word mode, the mode's a different one, we're going to the mode key, just mode on its own. Let's do 5, down. We notice that this actual interface is down, okay? So then we're going to put in the shut command, which is effectively going to push out the description. This link is shut down. And that's pretty much it, okay? We've got the main part here, which is going to reference the getFacts function and then deploy it out. So that's pretty much it. So let's just have a look at the actual topology and just see what's what before we deploy the script and see the changes. So let's look at the topology then. So if I happen to pull out a switch and do a show run, you'll see that there are no descriptions configured on any devices as of yet, okay? So all the interfaces, they've got configurations on them like switch port mode trunk, so on and so forth, but no descriptions are there. I just grab a random access one, do the same here. And like I say, all the script is going to do is detect where all these configurations are, because we've got structured data, and then push out the appropriate description depending on what the link is. So again, no descriptions configured here. Let's go and push out the changes via the scripting. So if we do Python 3 and we do script commented, and Nornir is just going to push out all those changes now, depending on whatever the link is, it's going to get a particular description. So, switch 8, you can see here, sorry, switch 8. Switch 8 is, yes, switch 8. Gigabit 1.3, that's our management interface, so that's going to be connected to my actual management node up here. That's actually in VLAN 31, that is the management VLAN, okay? So you can see here that's actually correct, it's detected that and put in connected to VLAN 31 as an access port. The other ports here are, well, this one here is a trunk because it's 1, 2. So 1, 2 is correct. 1, 2 and 0, 1 should be trunk. So 1, 2 is a trunk, the rest shut down, you can see that there. And 0, 1 correctly identified as a trunk. And if we just scroll up, this is going to be true for all these ones. So if we happen to look at, say, switch 6's gig 00, that should be an access port. So access port connected to VLAN 20, okay, which is correct. If we look at the diagram here, switch is in VLAN 20. If we look at, say, the switch 4. Switch 4 is in VLAN 10, which is there. And this is right here, so it's all correct. And if we actually go to the devices now and do a show run, we're going to see that. We're going to see everything is in its right place. So, just scroll up a little bit. So access port connected to VLAN 10, this one's shut down, this is a trunk link, this one's shut down. This is a trunk link, shut down. We go up to, say, switch 1. We're going to see a lot of trunks here, obviously, because we're in the distribution layer. Show run. So trunk link, trunk link, trunk link, so on and so forth. And all I will say is that we'll have 2 small errors trying to execute that command or parse the information for show interface switch port on gig 1.3 and 1.3 of switches 1 and 2, because they are now rooted ports. So we'll see a slight wee error in the script up the top, but it's no real problem. Everything else executed just fine. I'll go up here, this is switch 3. See that there? This is an error. Pretty much we can't do anything on that. Everything else absolutely fine. So this is just a basic application of the principles of using TextFSM to parse out information. You can do so much more than what I've just demonstrated here, but like I say, it's just an introduction to help you get you going and to do some practice. So like I say, install those templates from Network to Code. The guys there have done a great job. And that's pretty much the end of the video, so thanks very much, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.